Arashi Castles of Sin, the final cut, releases today on PlayStation VR2, and this is a game that I've been really anticipating because I absolutely adored the original version on PlayStation VR1. And it came out around a time that was really late in the PSVR 1 lifespan, so not many people got to play it. So I thought that this would be a wonderful opportunity for them to remaster the game, update it with the current gen hardware, and release it again to get a second chance. And now Skydance have actually taken over and helped produce it and bring it as well, who made Saints and Sinners, which is one of the greatest VR games of all time. So it seemed like everything was a perfect recipe to bring this game back and give it the second chance that it truly deserved. But after playing the first hour, all I gotta say is, what the hell happened here? Now, I don't even know where to begin here, guys, but let's go ahead and kick things off with just something as basic as the movement in the game. Yes, the movement. You would think that that would be probably first and foremost the easiest thing to implement and get right, right? Wrong. There's something off with the orientation itself. So like you can easily end up kind of moving slowly and diagonally. I mean, there was times where I was literally pressing forward and it was moving diagonal across the level. And I just couldn't understand as to how they could let this happen. Now, on top of the movement, there's also something funky about the climbing. I mean, when you grab rocks on the side of a cliff and you climb up, once you hit a certain threshold at the top, it just poof, teleports you up to the top, which is just kind of weird. I mean, not only is it immersion breaking, but I feel like the movement and the climbing here might actually make some people feel sick. And now that's not something I have to worry about, but even I was feeling something was a little off, and you just don't want that, any kind of discomfort or disorienting movements while you're playing VR games, and it just seems to do that. Now, graphically, there actually is one big enhancement, and that is the resolution itself. The game is actually super sharp and clear now, as opposed to the PSVR 1 version, which was really blurry. So there is an improvement there. But don't get ahead of yourself, because that's about it graphically. Other than that, there's no new lighting, there's no really new textures or anything. It kind of looks like a mixed bag. I mean, there is stuff along the main path that it wants you to walk that looks fine and dandy, but then you look out into the distance, or you look anything beyond, just the line of sight 5 feet in front of you, and you start to see some really, really glaring issues with the graphics. I mean, the mountains, which should be this beautiful scenery, just ends up being this blocky mess. And then on top of that, there's weird glitches in the grass where it's flopping around and moving. I guess that's supposed to be wind. I'm not really sure. There's leaves and trees clipping through walls. It's just really, really ugly. The original game actually had a lot of beautiful art design in it, and they really could have taken it up a notch here, but instead just took away the blur and didn't really compensate for any of the new clarity or anything. They just left it as is. And then there's the combat. I mean, this was the one deal breaker with the game, the one thing holding the game back. They've had all this time to make any kind of tweaks or improvement to it, and the combat is more boring than ever. I mean, you can literally sit there and just hold your arm up blocking like this and then just swipe. It's just you hold your arm up and then you just do a little swipe. Hold your arm up, block, do a little swipe. That is literally 90% of the gameplay here. But it doesn't just stop there, guys. I mean, one of the selling features of this game is interacting with your pet wolf companion, Haru, where you can actually pet her and everything. There's no haptics in there. So you don't even get to feel. That was one of the things I was looking forward to most is, I actually get to feel petting Haru and stuff. That'd be so cool. I mean, the fur moves, they obviously put a lot of work into the interaction. Why not just add a little bit of haptic feedback into that? It just seems like such an easy thing. There's all these different things that are just, once again, a huge missed opportunity. And somehow, I have no idea what happened here, but somehow Skydance and Endeavor One have managed to make this game even worse than the PlayStation VR 1 version, which makes absolutely zero sense to me. I mean, you've got Skydance Interactive producing this, which is They've made The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners one of the greatest VR games of all time. So you'd think they've have a little bit of creative input or control or help that they could provide for this game. Maybe introduce a little bit of physics-based interactions that they're very, very good at. And that would have gone a long, huge way for this game in terms of improving the combat and the overall feel of the gameplay. And guess what? If you paid for this game back in the day, there is zero upgrade path. You don't get a $10 upgrade. You don't get a free upgrade. You have to pay $30 again. That's what you get for supporting this game and being one of the few 5 people that bought it originally. So overall, after my first hour of playing, I just would absolutely say hold off on this one, avoid it entirely for now, wait and see if it gets some patches. I really hope that Skydance Interactive or Endeavor One takes some responsibility, take some ownership here, and release some updates for this game, because I do think with some slightly improved combat, maybe some physics-based interactions a little bit better in that area, a little bit of tweaking to some of the backgrounds to make them actually not look like blocky pieces of crap in the distance, you could actually have a pretty amazing game here, which makes it even more disappointing, knowing how close it is and how little effort they were willing to put in to try and achieve that. So if you're just waking up to this news, I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you, but it's just extremely disappointing. This is another one that goes into my dreadful little wait for a patch folder, and crossing my fingers, because otherwise I have zero reason to jump back into this after being really excited and patiently waiting for this to release for a couple years now. But again, at the end of the day, there's tons of other stuff coming out very, very soon. As soon as this week, there's tons of stuff on sale. So there's a lot more other things to be excited for, and we'll wait and see what happens with this one. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.